The old woman continued, telling Amina a tale that mirrored her own. It was the story of the clever tortoise who wanted to become the king of the jungle. She started by saying, once upon a time, in a big green jungle, all the animals decided they needed a new king. Tortoise thought, I want to be king. He wanted to be treated with honor and respect. He wanted the most delicious meals and the most beautiful females. But being small and slow, he knew he had to be clever to make this happen. Once upon a time, in a beautiful African village full of smiles and laughter, there was a young lady named Amina. Amina was not just any lady. She was kind, she was beautiful, and she had a heart that sparkled brighter than the stars in the night sky. Amina worked as a maid. Every day, Amina worked very hard. She cleaned, cooked, and fetched water for her mistress. But deep inside, Amina wished for more. She dreamed of wearing beautiful dresses and eating the tastiest foods, just like her mistress. One day, as bright and warm as Amina's smile, she went to fetch water. The sun was high, making the ground hot enough to cook an egg. On her way, she saw an old woman sitting under a tree. This old woman looked tired, so tired, like she had walked many miles. Her feet were dusty, and her throat was as dry as the desert. Amina, with her kind heart, didn't think twice. She walked over and said, Good afternoon, old mother. You look thirsty. Please have some of my water. I'll go back and fetch another one. And just like that, she shared her water with the old woman, not knowing that this was no ordinary old woman. The old woman drank the water and smiled. It was a smile that seemed to know secrets, secrets as old as the hills. She looked at Amina with twinkling eyes and said, Thank you, my child. You have a heart of gold. I want to give you a gift. Make a wish, any wish, and it will come true. Amina's eyes grew wide with wonder. A wish that could come true. She thought of her mistress, who lived in a big, beautiful house, who wore dresses as colorful as the rainbow, and who always had more than enough. Amina whispered, I wish to be rich as my mistress. The old woman nodded, her smile growing wider. She said, In 3 days, your wish will come true. But remember, my child, every wish comes with its own path. And just like that, the old woman disappeared, as if the wind had carried her away. Amina stood there, puzzled, holding her empty jug, wondering if the sun had played tricks on her mind. But oh, the adventure that awaited Amina was bigger than she could have ever imagined. As she walked back home, her heart was a mix of hope and wonder, dreaming of riches that could change her life forever. And so, the story of Amina and her wish for wealth began, under the wide blue African sky, where dreams whisper on the wind, waiting to come true. 3 sunrises and 3 sunsets later, the village woke up to a surprise that had everyone's eyes wide as the full moon. Amina, the kind-hearted maid, woke up to a morning that sparkled with magic. When she opened her eyes, she couldn't believe what she saw. Gold, shiny and bright, jewels that sparkled like stars, and clothes finer than the feathers of the most beautiful bird. Her little room had turned into a treasure chest. The news spread faster than wildfire. Amina is rich, they said, richer than the richest in the village. People gathered, whispering secrets like the leaves whisper to the wind. How did she get so rich so fast, they wondered. Some thought maybe she found a hidden treasure, or perhaps she stole it. But no, Amina had not stolen a thing. Her heart was as pure as the river's song. Her mistress, the lady she worked for, stood by her like a strong tree stands against the wind. Amina is lucky, not a thief, her mistress said, her voice clear and true. And just like that, the whispers calmed, but the wonder in their eyes remained. As years went by, Amina enjoyed her wealth. She eats whatever she wants, wears the most beautiful dresses, and enjoys the best life she'd always dreamed of. However, in the middle of all this wealth, Amina felt a little tug in her heart, a whisper telling her something was missing. She walked around her room, touching the gold that glowed with the morning sun, wearing the clothes that felt like clouds. But every step she took made her realize riches filled her room, but not her heart. Amina, now rich and living in a big lovely house, started feeling a bit lonely. Even with all her shiny things and tasty foods, something big was missing. She didn't have a special someone to share her laughs and dreams with. She didn't have a husband. You see, when Amina wished to be rich like her mistress, she got everything her mistress had. And just like her mistress, Amina found herself alone without a husband. She remembered seeing how other families in the village were happy together, laughing and playing. Amina wished for that kind of joy too. Then, one sunny afternoon, as Amina strolled through the village, her path crossed with her dear friend, Nia. Nia, always radiant and full of joy, tells Amina about her life and her loving husband. "He brings me flowers for no reason," Nia beamed, "and whispers sweet nothings that make my heart flutter. Even in the busiest of days, he finds moments to show me love." Amina listened, her heart aching with desire for such companionship. Nia's stories painted a picture of a life Amina yearned for, a life filled with love and tenderness, far removed from the cold opulence of her solitary existence. Then Amina thought of the old woman who made her wish come true. Maybe she can help me again, Amina hoped. She decided to find the old woman, thinking maybe, just maybe, she could make another wish. So, Amina set out to look for the old woman. She walked through the village, past the tall trees, and down the winding paths she once walked when she was not so rich. It felt strange, yet familiar. After a long search, she found the old woman sitting quietly by the same big shady tree. "Hello again, dear child," the old woman greeted her with a smile. "I see you have come back. Tell me, what is it that your heart desires now?" Amina sat down beside her and shared her feelings. She told the old woman how she had everything she could ever want, but still felt lonely. "I wish for a husband, someone kind and loving, just like my friend's husband. She always talks about how wonderful he is," Amina explained with hope in her eyes. The old woman listened carefully, then said, "Wishes are powerful, my child. But remember, every wish comes with its own path. Are you sure this is what you want?" Amina nodded, her heart set on finding love and companionship. The old woman agreed to grant her wish, but reminded her, "In 3 days, your wish will be granted. Be ready for what comes." Amina thanked the old woman and went back home, her heart lighter, filled with hope. She marked each day on her calendar, counting down to the day her life would change again. And just like before, on the morning of the 3rd day, Amina's life took another turn. But this time, it was a turn she never expected, one that would teach her more about the price of wishes than she ever wanted to know. As the sun rose on the 3rd day, while taking a walk through the village, Amina saw a man she had never seen before. He was very handsome, with a smile that could light up the darkest room. His name was Zach, and he was known by many in the village for his charm and good looks. Many maidens had hoped to catch his eye, but today, it was Amina he saw. Zach walked up to Amina, and they talked as if they had known each other for years. There was a spark, something special, that neither of them could deny. And before the day was over, Zach did something surprising. He asked Amina to marry him. Yes, on the very same day they met. Amina felt like her heart was going to burst with happiness. She said yes to Zach and they quickly planned a small, beautiful wedding. It was a whirlwind of joy and laughter. The villagers talked about the sudden marriage, but all Amina could feel was the love she had wished for. Finally, she had someone to share her life with, just like her friend. They celebrated their love with dancing and singing, and Amina felt like the luckiest person in the world. Zach was everything she had hoped for. A kind man who showered her with compliments, gifts, and public displays of affection. Amina was proud to be his wife, and she felt grateful for her wish coming true. But as the days turned into weeks, Amina began to notice things she hadn't before. Living with Zach, she started to see sides of him that were hidden during their brief courtship. It was like slowly peeling an onion, revealing layers she hadn't expected. In the beginning, Amina's days were filled with laughter and love, like the stories she had dreamed of as a little girl. Zach was her prince, and she felt like the queen of her own little kingdom. They were the perfect couple in everyone's eyes, always smiling and holding hands. But as the moon rose and fell, the fairy tale began to crumble. Behind closed doors, Zach changed. He was no longer the charming man Amina had fallen for. Instead, he became mean and hurtful, saying things that made Amina's heart ache. Sometimes, he beat her in the middle of the night when no one can help. Zach was like two different people, one for the world to see and another only Amina knew. Amina felt trapped in a nightmare. She remembered her friend, the one with the happy marriage, and decided to open up to her. Through tears, Amina shared her pain, only to hear a shocking truth. Her friend, too, was suffering in silence. Her husband, who seemed so kind and loving in public, was just like Zach behind closed doors. Amina realized the old woman's magic had a dark twist. In her wish for a husband like her friends, she had gotten exactly that, both the good and the bad. She saw now that her wish was flawed, rooted in envy and a misunderstanding of true happiness. Feeling alone and scared, Amina remembered the old woman's words about the magic having a price. She understood now the price was not just in the wishing, but in the consequences that followed. Amina's heart was heavy with regret. She had wanted to escape loneliness, but now she found herself in a different kind of solitude, one filled with sorrow and fear. In the silence of the night, Amina made a silent vow. She would find a way out of this darkness. She would not let her story end in hidden sorrows. Amina's journey was far from over, and she knew she had to be brave for what was to come. The realization of her mistake was the first step towards reclaiming her life and finding true happiness, not in wishes, but in reality. Amina's heart was heavy as she made her way back to the old woman's house one last time. Tears blurred her vision, each step a reminder of the joy that turned into sorrow. She had hoped her story with Zach would be different, but now all she wanted was to escape the pain and find peace. When she reached the old woman's house, Amina poured out her heart, sharing every painful detail of her life with Zach. She begged for a solution, a way to undo her wish, or perhaps a chance to make a new one that could erase her mistakes. The old woman listened quietly, her eyes reflecting a deep sadness. When Amina finished, she sighed, a sound that seemed to carry the weight of the world. "My child," she said gently, "I'm afraid you have no more wishes left. The magic that brought you wealth and a husband can't take them away. You've learned a hard but valuable lesson about desire and its consequences." Amina's heart sank as she listened. She had come seeking a solution, but instead, she was left with the realization that some choices can't be undone. The old woman continued, telling Amina, a tale that mirrored her own. It was the story of the clever tortoise who wanted to become the king of the jungle. She started by saying, "Once upon a time, in a big green jungle, all the animals decided they needed a new king. Tortoise thought, I want to be king. He wanted to be treated with honor and respect. He wanted the most delicious meals and the most beautiful females. But being small and slow, he knew he had to be clever to make this happen. Tortoise had a magical wish that could make anything happen. He wished, I want to trick everyone and become the king." And just like that, his wish came true. Tortoise became the king of the jungle. At first, he was very happy, wearing a tiny crown and giving orders. But soon, Tortoise saw that being king wasn't just about wearing a crown, enjoying the most delicious meals, and getting whatever he wanted. It was about protecting the jungle and solving big problems. There were scary wars and battles. Lions, tigers, and bears would fight, and Tortoise had to be brave and wise to keep peace. Tortoise thought, oh no, this is too much for me. I just wanted to wear a crown, eat and enjoy myself just like the lion, not fight wars. He realized he made the wrong wish. So Tortoise made another wish. I don't want to be king anymore. Let's go back to how things were. But the animals remembered how Tortoise tricked them. They said, Tortoise, you tried to be clever, but now you must learn. Instead of being king, Tortoise became a helper, carrying things for other animals. He wasn't a slave, but he had to work hard and help everyone as a way to say sorry for the trick. In the end, Tortoise learned you never know the responsibility of a king until you wear the crown yourself, and also to be a good friend than to trick others for something you're not ready for. And all the animals learned to appreciate each other's strengths, living happily in the jungle. Amina listened, the tortoise's story echoing her own. She had wished for wealth and love, thinking they were the keys to happiness. But now, trapped in a life filled with sorrow, she realized that not all that glitters is gold. And it's better not to wish for others' blessings because you don't know what's beneath their happy faces. After Amina's heartfelt confession and the wisdom shared through the tale of the tortoise, the old woman saw the genuine regret and desire for change in Amina's eyes. As Amina stood up to leave, believing she had no more options left, the old woman called out to her, "Wait, my child. There is one more thing I can offer you." Amina turned back, her eyes wide with a mixture of hope and confusion. The old woman continued, "I see the sincerity in your heart and your willingness to learn from your mistakes. Therefore, I will grant you one final wish. But remember, this wish comes with its own lessons." Amina listened intently as the old woman explained. She could wish to return to her life before the wealth and marriage to once again be a maid. However, she would not return to the same status she once held. She would start anew, at a lesser status than before. It was a chance for Amina to rebuild her life, appreciating the value of hard work, humility, and the simple joys that she had overlooked in her pursuit of wealth and love. The decision was difficult. Amina weighed the comfort and security of her current life, despite its sorrows, against the uncertainty and humility of starting over. After a moment of deep reflection, she made her choice. With a voice steadier than she felt, Amina said, "I wish to go back. I wish to learn to appreciate my path and find happiness in the life that I meant to live." The old woman nodded, understanding the courage it took for Amina to make such a choice. With a wave of her hand, Amina's world changed once again. She found herself back in the mansion, not as the mistress, but as a maid once more. Her hands, once adorned with jewels, now held cleaning supplies. Yet, as she began her work, a sense of peace settled in her heart. In the days and months that followed, Amina discovered the true value of her decision. She learned to appreciate the beauty in simplicity, the joy of earning her way, and the strength in humility. She also understood the hidden trials behind the seemingly perfect lives of others, recognizing that true happiness cannot be measured by wealth or status. Amina formed genuine connections with those around her, no longer envying their lives but cherishing her own journey. She found contentment in her work, pride in her accomplishments, and joy in the simple moments of life. I hope you enjoyed the tale. If so, please like the video, share it with your family and friends, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for more enchanting tales like this one. Goodbye.